Well, good morning, everyone. It's a beautiful day. Thank you so much for being here. If you're a guest, and we have guests here every Sunday, and I just want to say thank you for coming, and we hope you find us to be a warm and friendly church. We're glad all of you are here. One of the things we do every Sunday is give you a chance to say you're here. There's a little Connect card in front of you, and we say, hey, if you're here, take one per family. Just say, I'm here. Write your name. If there's some stuff on the back, if you want to be added to our email list or anything like that, you can jot down a prayer request, and we would appreciate you doing that and tossing it in the offering when that comes by a bit later. I got 2 or 3 announcements. You've got your bulletin. You can make your way through that. But 2 eating announcements to start off, okay? The first one is this Saturday is a barbecue, a community barbecue at Lighthouse Community Church. This is in Oaklawn in South Wichita. They're our sister church. We are very heavily engaged into their lives, and they do this barbecue for the community. There's little inflatables for all the kids, and so we could use some help on those who could help with prepping and grilling and serving the food. And so there's more information in the bulletin and at the Connect table for that. That's this Saturday. The second eating announcement is next Sunday. We are sending another team to Mexico. There's this orphanage, and we probably sent close to 20-plus teams to Mexico. And they are making another trip. I think it's in July. This is a fundraiser, hot dog and hamburger thing. So you don't need a cook next week. Just show up for that. You're going to give, but it's cheaper than eating out, okay? So join in on that next Sunday. Third announcement, Vacation Bible School is coming up June 13 through 17. We've got record numbers of pre-enrollment already. Parents, a reminder, you can enroll online for your kids. But we could still use some help with volunteers for the lunch on Friday and for crafts and for some extra food. And there's a table out here that you can get all that information. But we'd love for you to be a part of changing some kids' lives in that way. That's it for my announcements. We've got Brad Hyen. He is our treasurer, and he's going to give us an update on the building program. So, Brad, glad you're here.
Thanks, Brent. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Brad Hyen. I'm lucky enough to serve as the treasurer for the leadership board. I'm here this morning to say thank you. As you look at the slide there, through 2 campaigns, we have given over $5.4 million towards a $7 million project, which is this beautiful building. So we just have to say thank you for that. And as we look now, since those campaigns ended in the first quarter of last year, we have continued to give nearly almost $600,000. So again, thank you to those that have been faithful and have continued to give. As a reminder, we did take the building fund out of our budget for this year, and so if you wish to participate, then we ask that you just put building fund on your check so that it will get put to this debt. But we're just asking that everybody basically pony up and let's get this thing done. A verse came to mind thinking of what we've accomplished so far, and that is Nehemiah 10:35. And it says, we promise to bring the first part of every harvest to the Lord's temple year after year. So you have, and we thank you for that. And so now we're looking at the last $576,000, and I just ask you for a final push to eliminate this debt. If we all participate, I think we can do that by the end of the year. So I'm going to leave you with a vision to when this is paid off. And again, I go to Nehemiah 12:43. And it says, many sacrifices were offered on that joyous day, for God had given the people cause for great joy. The women and children also participated in the celebration, and the joy of the people of Jerusalem could be heard far away. Thank you very much. If you'd like to stand and greet someone.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Luke, and it's good to be with you this morning. This is Candy. She'll be helping me lead worship this morning. It's just good to be back. I've been gone for a few weeks, so it's good to see you all smiling and happy. As we sing, I just invite you to sing with us as you know the songs, and let's worship God together. Oh, I've heard 1,000 stories of what they think you're like, but I heard a tender whisper of love in the dark of night as you tell me that you're pleased and that I'm never alone. Say
we just have to look at the world and go, it's a fallen world. And there is pain, and there is suffering, and there is loss. And the only thing that can make sense in that moment is to welcome in the presence of God and ask Him to be there in your good times and your bad. And He gives you that peace, and you can see the goodness because He is good, even when there is nothing else in your life that seems like it's right. So we're going to sing this, that we could just become aware of His presence, that you would let Him in, that you would experience that, and that today, right here in this very moment, that we could just sit and experience His goodness because He is good. And all the lost and lonely, and all the thieves will come confess, and know that you are holy, and know that you are holy, and all that He is God. And shout it, just our voices. Go on and scream it from the mountains. Go on and tell it to the masses that He is God.
Father, we thank you for this time together. We thank you for giving us a safe place to come in your name and to offer our voices and our instruments as worship and as praise to you. And Father, now we ask that you would accept our gifts. And not only that you would accept them, but you would bless these gifts that we're about to give. And that you would use them to spread the message around the world, that you would further your kingdom by the things that we do here today. We pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen. You can have a seat. I will sing forever with my hands to heaven, shout your praises loud. I was lost in darkness when you pulled me out. I will sing forever of your love come down. Oh, 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 see, chains of sin that shackled me, but God in heaven heard my plea, and Jesus, Jesus rescued me. Jesus, Jesus rescued me. I will sing forever of your love come down, with my hands to heaven, shout your praises loud. I was lost in darkness when you pulled me out. I will sing forever of your love come down. Now grace so sweet, it floods my soul, and hope eternal won't let go. My debt erased at Calvary, Jesus, Jesus rescued me. Jesus, Jesus rescued me. I will sing forever of your love come down, with my hands to heaven, shout your praises loud. I was lost in darkness when you pulled me out. I will sing forever of your love come down. Now there's a home beyond the sky, a song we'll sing for all of time. My grave is empty, I am free. It's Jesus, Jesus rescued me. Jesus, Jesus rescued me. And I will sing forever of your love come down, with my hands to heaven, shout your praises loud. I was lost in darkness when you pulled me out. I will sing forever of your love come down.
I will sing forever of your love come down, with my hands to heaven, shout your praises loud. I was lost in darkness when you pulled me out. I will sing forever of your love come down. I'll sing forever of your love come down. I'll sing forever of your love come down.
Oh,
I'm so hungry.
Okay, you want to go get something to eat?
Yes.
Okay, where do you want to go?
I don't care.
Okay, how about Taco Bell?
Ew, gross. I don't like Taco Bell.
Okay, well then what do you want?
I don't care.
Okay, how about KFC?
I don't want that.
Okay, well then what do you want?
I don't care.
You do care. I've just given you 2 choices and you turned them both down. So, obviously you do want something. What is it?
I don't know. I want you to pick.
Okay. How about...
I don't want to eat with you if you're going to be a meanie.
Well, okay. I won't be mean as soon as you choose, because we can stand here and have this conversation for the rest of my life. I'm going to just be quiet until you make a decision about what you want to do. Like, what kind of food do you want to eat?
I don't know, like a burger?
Okay, a burger. How about backyard burgers?
Ooh, I don't like backyard
That's
burger.
burgers. That's exactly what you said you wanted.
I don't want it anymore.
You don't want
I'm not really hungry anymore.
You're not hungry?
No.
Okay, then what do you want to do?
I want to watch TV.
You want to watch TV? Okay, what do you want to watch?
I don't care.
How about American Idol?
I don't like American
Then
Idol.
what do you want to watch?
I don't care. You pick. I'm not picking. I'm so hungry.
All right. Well, hey, let's be honest. Although relationships are awesome, and if you were here yesterday as Brent and Joan gave away their daughter in marriage, it was an awesome wedding, and it was a really cool, great afternoon together. Although relationships are awesome, they can be very difficult and hard and frustrating at times. We want them to go well in every facet of our lives. If you're married, you want your relationship to go well as a couple. If you're single, you long for that day that someday you might be able to have that kind of relationship. What kind of parent doesn't want things to go even better with their kids, right? And kids, you want things to go well with your parents. And employees, wouldn't it be great if all the coworkers got along all the time? And we even know that it's kind of a good thing for business if you get along with your customers and your customers like you. We all want relationships to go well. Solving relationship riddles is for all of us, but it is tough. It is a serious and even lucrative business. Scientists, psychologists, researchers have poured way too much money and time into trying to figure this thing out. They've developed formulas even. Can you get this? I came across an example of a formula that was developed for marriage and for how to know how long your marriage is going to last. It's pretty crazy. The Y variable up there stands for the number of years the two people knew each other before the relationship became serious. P is the number of previous partners of both people. HM is the importance the male partner attaches to honesty. MF, the importance the female attaches to money. J, the importance both attach to humor, and it goes on and on and on. And the end result, if you put all that together and figure it out, is L, which is the length of how long your relationship will last. It is crazy. People are going nuts trying to figure this stuff out. There's even a TED Talk on math and relationships. Now, if you don't know what TED is, not who, but what TED is, talk to a millennial and they'll help you to understand and figure it out. But there was a TED Talk that came out and it was turned recently into a book. And the book is called The Mathematics of Love, Patterns, Proofs, and the Search for the Ultimate Equation. Check out some of the diagrams that this person has developed. I mean, it is crazy. You have to figure all that stuff out to know if this is going to be a good relationship. There's even more. I don't even know what that means, or the next one after it. And there's one more after that. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. This is just too complicated and insane. So how do we make relationships work? Well, as Christians, we believe that God spoke to various authors and put together a collection that we call the Bible. And we believe that God's word here speaks truth into our lives. and that it will help us on this journey through life on this planet together. And 2,000 plus years ago, there was a guy named Paul. Paul was a mass murderer of Christians. He went all over the place to kill as many Christians as he possibly could, until one day when he had this really incredible, miraculous conversion experience, and he became a follower of Jesus. And even historical records outside of Scripture talk about the fact of Paul being a mass murderer, and then all of a sudden he experiences a life change, and now he's an incredible follower of God and becomes a very strong leader in the early church movement. And Paul writes several of the books that are in this collection called the Bible. And in one of those books, the book of Ephesians, is where we're going to spend some time this morning to try and figure this out. Now, just to give a little context, Paul, who was a mass murderer, became a Christian, led the early church, is now in prison because of his faith, right? And in Ephesians chapter 4, verse 1, this is what we read. As a prisoner for the Lord, then, I urge you to live a life worthy of the calling that you have received. Be completely humble and gentle. Be patient, bearing with one another in love. You know, instruction manuals are an awesome thing. We even have some around the church here. We have this one here that is called the Playbook, and it is about, it's fairly thick, but it's about everything that you want to know about our colors that we use here at the church, the fonts we use, anything about communication, it's all in this book. We have another one here called How to Turn Stuff On, and it helps us to understand and helps anybody to understand how to work any piece of sound equipment in this church other than what's in this room. It's a pretty cool thing. Instruction manuals can be very helpful. The only problem is guys don't like to use them, right? We just don't. We'd rather spend hours trying to figure it out rather than to spend 30 minutes reading a manual that will help us to be able to figure out the pieces of this puzzle. We'd rather come up with a bunch of extra parts at the end and show them that they don't need all those pieces. There's one instruction manual, though, that I think that everybody in this room would use if it was really there, and that is the relational instructional manual. It would be of immense help to help all of us trying to live out what Paul told us in Ephesians 4, verse 1. We could even make a voice-activated app. I thought this would be so cool that if I was, having an issue going on with anybody, I could just kind of push the button and go, Siri, what should I say? And then Siri would tell me, here's what not to say, what to say, when to say it, and what the expected outcome would be. Wouldn't that be awesome? Yes? Okay, I think it would be a cool thing. So, here's the deal. Now, I know, ladies, you're kind of sitting there going, seriously? Because you like all this emotional fluff kind of thing, right? But us guys, we don't. We just want it to be crystal clear in simple, easy steps. Here's what you do. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, okay. And we just do it. That's kind of the way guys are. All right, so here's the deal. Paul, not Paula, I know it's probably obvious there, but he's a guy. He does that for us in Ephesians chapter 4. He lays out specifically what not to say, what to say, when to say it, and what the expected outcome is going to be. It is pretty awesome. All we got to do is learn this formula, and it will help us in every relationship that you have. It is really cool. Now, I'm going to show you that formula, and we're going to work it through for the rest of the morning. But before I show you the formula, I want to show you the verse that it comes from, okay? Ephesians chapter 4, verse 29, this is what Paul said. Do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths, but only what is helpful for building others up according to their needs, that it may benefit those who listen. All right, now, here's the formula. We're going to walk it through really quick together. It's pretty simple. Negative U plus B plus N equals B with a little e. That is it. If you will take some time and memorize and learn that formula and what it means, I guarantee it is going to help you in every relationship you have. I'm serious about this, all right? So serious that here's what we're going to do. I'm going to ask all of you, if you are able, to just set everything down for a second and stand up, if you would. All right? Stand up. I know you're kind of going, this is weird. What do we do this on a Sunday morning? We're standing up. If you are streaming this and watching this online, stand up too. And that'll be really weird, especially if you're at home and somebody's going, what is he doing? But do it anyway, all right? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do some motions to learn this formula. The first variable on that formula is negative u in parenthesis. And it's done that way to say no unwholesome talk. Now, if you're a parent and you have a little kid, sometimes you tell your kid to zip it shut. Just shut up, just sort of thing. So to remember no unwholesome talk, we're going to go, no, All right, so everybody together. Ready? All right, you got it. That's the first one. Very simple. The second one is this, B. It stands for build others up. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to pretend we're doing construction work, and we're all going to get out our hammers. Be careful you don't hit somebody behind you, and go build others up. Ready? All right, the first one was? Second? All right, the third variable in this formula is the letter N, and it stands for this, need of the moment. We'll explain that in a little bit, but to help us remember that, we're going to go like this, like we're looking at our watch going, where are they? What is going on? Come on, need of the moment, everybody. All right, so the first variable is? Second variable. All right, very good. If you will practice these things and live this out in your life, the expected outcome is very simple, and that is it will benefit those who listen. All right, it will. All right, let's do all four of it together. Ready? All right, you got it. Before you sit down, turn to the person next to you and go over it together, and then you can have a seat. Go for it. It is that simple. I am serious. It is that simple. If we will learn to apply this formula and practice it, I guarantee it is going to change what goes on in relationships with you and those around you. Kids, students, it will work with your friends. It will work with your parents. Parents, it will work with your kids. It'll work with coworkers. It will work with anyone. It is awesome, all right? Now, let's walk through this formula just a little bit more. The first one is this, the letter U in parenthesis stands for, again, no unwholesome talk. Here's what Paul said. He said, do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths. Don't let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths. The word unwholesome comes from the Greek, and it means sapros is the Greek word. And it means this. It means literally without the salt of grace. We are not to open our mouths. We are not to say anything unless it is seasoned with the salt of grace. If it isn't, just zip it shut. You know, there are a lot of people that do this, especially students and kids. They'll go like, this is what you're doing, and this is what I want you to do. Just zip it shut. Now, when I was in third grade, I talked a lot. I know for some of you, you think that really weird because I don't really like to talk a lot. But I talked a lot when I was in third grade like crazy, and I wouldn't stop. And my third grade teacher, who I loved so much, my favorite teacher, Miss Reed, but she was an older lady, and she could not get me to shut up no matter what. And so finally, after trying everything she could think of, she moved my desk from the back of the room to the very front of the room, 3 feet from the blackboard, and my back was to the rest of the class. I was just looking right at that blackboard, and I still wouldn't be quiet. I don't know who I was talking to, but I wouldn't be quiet. And so then she went to the next step, and she took some masking tape, and she wrapped the masking tape around my entire head, completely covering my mouth multiple times. This is no joke. I'm totally serious. If you don't believe me, ask my parents, because I had to tell them too. And they go to church here, so you can ask them. It was crazy. But that didn't get me to shut up. I just wouldn't be quiet. I know that is kind of silly, but we need to take serious the reality of what we are saying. Proverbs 18:21 says this: the tongue has the power of death and life. And my guess is that every single one of us in this room, we want to speak life words, not death words. But yet all of us have said things that we wish we hadn't said. Whether to our kids, our spouse, our parents, or others. And when we walked away, we saw tears streaming down their face. And whether we have spoken verbally or via some form of social media, we have spoken in ways that are not seasoned with grace. We spoke when we should have zipped it up. We're to be silent so that we can reflect. Is what I'm about to say something that is going to be humble, gentle, patient from Ephesians 4:1? Will it be creating an atmosphere that is thick with love, as one version says? Will it model living out a life worthy of what we have been called to? We're quiet so we can check our heart and check our motives. And we stay quiet so we can listen. Another author of the Bible is James, who is the brother of Jesus. Now, on a side note, can you just imagine what life would be like being the brother of Jesus? I mean, you could never win. Whenever anything goes on around the house, your mother would just go, Jesus wouldn't do it that way. It's like, well, seriously? Jesus wouldn't say that, James. It's like, oh, come on. There's nothing I can do there. I can't win. All right, that's a side note. I digressed a little bit. But in the book of James, James writes this, my dear brothers, take note of this. In other words, this is really important. Everyone should be quick to listen. This listening thing is a huge thing for you and I if we're going to practice and live out this formula. It is a big deal. So first, really listen to the other person. Our brains are pretty smart. And while I am talking to you, even right now, my brain is thinking several things. I'm thinking, they didn't laugh as much on this one as they did during the first service. But in the first service, they didn't laugh about that, and they laughed here about that. That's kind of weird. I mean, my mind is just going that way, right? I mean, I'm thinking, man, I'm thirsty. I'm wondering, it's kind of hot up here. Did that person just fall asleep? I mean, I'm just going like crazy like this. And your minds do that too. You think constantly. And when somebody else is talking to you, rather than really focusing your attention on them and wanting to help them and trying to understand what's going on, more often than not, what do our minds do? We go, in our minds, we're thinking, okay, now how should I respond? What should I say? And you start thinking through how you're going to communicate back. And we totally miss what the other person is saying. We need to shut it down. We need to shut our brains down so that we can listen, so that we can really hear what another is saying. So what not to say? No unwholesome talk. That's the first variable in this formula. The second variable is this, what to say. And that is only what is helpful for building others up. We are only to let noise come out of our mouths if it is building up the other person that we are communicating with. Can you imagine if we really practiced that, what life would be like? It would be a lot quieter around anywhere. So here's the challenge, just really quick for you. When you leave this room through the lunch hour, my challenge to you is this: don't say anything unless it's going to build up somebody else. Don't speak unless it's building up another person, all right? Now, just to get a little bit of clarity of what I mean by building others up, the origin of the word building others up, it means it carries this kind of idea of a manager or a steward of a household, okay? So whenever you speak, you are to be stewarding the person that you're communicating with. You're to be shaping them, molding them, helping them on their journey. Whoa. That's a tall call that we are asked to do. Now, I want to be clear here. I'm not saying that we never say anything that may be hard to hear. But the question is it ultimately for their good? Is it ultimately going to benefit them? And the only way you can answer that is if you have wrestled with your own heart and your own motives, which goes back to the first variable of say nothing negative that comes out of your mouth. All right? So, let no unwholesome word come out of your mouth. Only say words that are going to build others up, The next variable is the N, and here's what the N stands for. It says, according to the need of the moment. That's what Paul wrote. He said, let no unwholesome word come out of your mouth. Only build others up according to the need of the moment. We're not just to speak words that build others up, but we're to speak those words when it is most appropriate for them, according to the need of that particular moment in time. It gets very precise there, Paul does. That's why we have to be good listeners. We have to become detectives. If you like watching some detective shows, perfect. You need to become a detective with the person you're speaking with. You need to become a psychologist. You need to really grasp an understanding. What are they thinking? What are they saying? And really process it through. Understand, is your heart clear? Is what I'm going to say going to help them? And then, is this the best time that I should speak? Or should I wait? Maybe it's a little bit later. Now, when Linda and I were dating, one time she had me over for dinner over to her place. And she made this really incredible romantic evening together. The lights were dim. There was candlelight at the table. She made this homemade lasagna from scratch. Beautiful salad. Linda Ronstadt music playing in the background for the older people who understand who Linda Ronstadt is. I mean, it was a great evening together. And we sat down to have dinner, and Linda politely said, is there anything else I can get you? And before I could even do anything, these words just spewed out of my mouth. Well, do you have any homemade rolls? What are you thinking, you idiot? Just like, be quiet. I recovered from that one, but it got worse. I don't know if that's possible. I can't believe she married me after that. But it got worse in that when the evening was over, everything was great, awesome. I'm getting ready to leave, and I say, I can't believe I said this. I said, hey, Linda, if I got you my mother's recipe for lasagna, do you think you could make that? Oh, I don't know what I was thinking. A couple months later, I met with her dad to ask if I could marry her daughter. And he said to me, John, just remember that once you say something, you can never take it back. And I'm going, now you tell me, It's like, crazy. But we've got to understand the need of the other person for that particular moment in time. What is best for them. That's what Paul challenges us with. Now, if we practice this, if we do all three of these variables, we come up to what it equals, and that is the outcome, the expected outcome. Paul says this, that it may benefit those who listen. It may benefit those who listen. Remember what Paul said at the beginning of the chapter. He said, as a prisoner of the Lord, he's in jail, I urge you to live a life worthy of the calling you have received. Be completely humble and gentle. Be patient, bearing with one another in love. If we practice this formula, we'll be well on our way. But notice that the result of this formula is not that it will benefit you. That'd be kind of cool. But it says that it will benefit those who listen. Now, another translation of this, it says this, that it may give grace to those who hear, that it will pour out a blessing upon others. Pour out a blessing. Here's the thing. I don't know of anybody in this room who wouldn't love to have blessings bestowed upon them, who wouldn't love to have grace poured out on them. My challenge to you is, why not begin and lead by example and extend that grace, extend that blessing to others through practicing and living out this formula? See, I think most of us in this room, we probably fit into one of three camps, okay? And as we kind of wrap up our time, I want to give just a little bit of a challenge to each. We all know that developing relationships is tough. It's going to take a lot of hard work. But here's one thing that I do know, and even though I don't fully understand it, I know that if you have a relationship with Jesus, He'll work with you and through you to help you in practicing and living out a formula like this and living out your Christian life and being a good person to those around you. He just will, if you'll ask him. And if you're here this morning and you're not a Christian, then I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you can make it through this life and the relationship riddles if you don't know God. And so my challenge to the first camp, if you're here this morning and you've never trusted Christ, you've never chosen to follow him, my challenge to you is this: why not do it now? Why not? God created the world, created the universe, created you, put you on this planet, but he didn't step back and just go ahead, live life. He entered into our world, and Jesus Christ came to this earth, died on the cross, and took our sin on him, in him. And then he rose from the dead, and he did that so that you could experience life. And so if you've never crossed that line of faith, never trusted in him, why not do that today? You can simply, in your mind, say something like what I'm saying right here, and that is, God, I need you. I can't figure out this life on my own. I've tried, but I can't. And I do stuff wrong all the time. I sin, I mess up, and I need you. Thank you for dying on the cross for me, Jesus. Come into my life and help me to walk through this journey together. And if you just prayed that prayer in your mind, if you just thought that, Jesus is now a part of your life, and he is going to walk with you on this journey. Just continue to ask him. We would love to walk with you on this journey, but we can't if we don't know who you are. And so I want to encourage you, if you prayed that prayer, to simply take out a Connect card, write your name down, and any way for us to contact you, a phone, an email, whatever you prefer. And on the back of the card, just write, "Today I trusted Jesus." And then hand it to an usher when you leave, hand it to a greeter at the door, drop it off at the welcome desk. We'll get in touch with you because we want to help you to grow in your journey, all right? Now, there's a second camp of people out there, and that is those of you who perhaps come on Sunday morning, but that's kind of it with your spiritual journey. You know, you come to church because that's the thing to do, and you believe in Jesus, but you've never followed that through even further and growing and understanding more about God. And you go, that's a nice formula, John, kind of cute, but that's okay. And you don't live it out. And my challenge to you is, please, stop riding the fence. Just do this thing. Pursue God with all your heart and with all your life. And if you don't know how to get connected, because we encourage you to get connected here to a men's group, a women's group, get connected if you're a young adult with Converge. Just in some way, get connected so that you can grow more on your journey. And if you don't know how to do that, then you too fill out one of those Connect cards. And on the back, just put, "Help me get connected," and hand it in, and we will help you get connected. The last camp in here that I want to just address for a moment is this. For many of you, you've been following Jesus for a long time. And you know this verse. It's memorized perhaps, and you maybe didn't know that formula, but you're living it out, and you're following God, and that is so awesome, and I'm so excited for you. Here's my challenge to you. Would you begin praying right now and never stop praying something like this? Jesus, bring into my life someone who doesn't know you, and make it so obvious, just like hit me over the head with it, and make it so obvious that you want me to connect with this person. And then connect with them, and continue to pray, and continue to look for opportunities to build relationship with them, and tell them your story of how God is working in your life. Invite them to church and go out for lunch with them afterwards. And begin to dialogue with them about who God is and see what doors God opens up. This formula here, really simple. Know an wholesome word, build others up according to the need of the moment, and it'll benefit those who listen. Easy to say, but really hard to live out. And my challenge and my encouragement to all of us is that we'll take to heart and practice this every moment of our lives. Let's pray together. God, thank you so much for everybody in this room. Thanks for their desire to follow you. Thanks for just the time that we've had to look at your word together. I pray that you would just work in and through us to be better lovers of people in following what Paul told us in the book of Ephesians. And I pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you very much for coming. Have a great day.